That was a nice introduction. I didn't even hear it. I was so far back. Thank you very much, Frank, and everybody for being here. Security is such an important thing. And when you look at what's happening with our country in terms of the economics of our country, it makes what most of you people are involved in security much more difficult because we're doing very poorly economically. We owe $18 trillion. China is building a force like nobody's ever built. I mean, you look at what they're doing with islands in the sea and taking over ports for their ships and their destroyers and their aircraft carriers. And what are we doing? We're making our military smaller. We're not getting the right equipment. We're decapitating our own military in a time where we need it more than ever before. So one of the things we have to do quickly is we have to do something economically to make our country rich again, to make our country strong again, and to make our country great again. And I know how to do that. And I'm making a decision, as you know, over the next few weeks, sometime during the month of June. And I'm a big proponent of the military, believe me. I'm a big proponent, and I mean a really big proponent, of helping our vets, because our vets are treated like second-class citizens. It's horrible. Now, you look at some of the things, and coming over, I was studying some reports, and China now has the highest level of debt. They own our debt. Do you believe it? They own $1.3 trillion worth of our debt. China. Japan is a close second with $1.2 trillion. So we have our people out there, and they're putting in their $10 to buy a bond, and we have China owning $1.3 trillion and strangling us. Now, we have all the cards. People don't understand that. Our president doesn't understand that. He doesn't have a clue. We have all the cards. They don't have the cards. But we don't have people that know how to use the cards. So it's a really big problem. I was just sitting back with some experts, and some real experts, on immigration and other things. And they were saying that if you're Muslim and you come from Syria, no problem getting into the country. If you're Christian and you come from Syria, impossible to get into the country. And I said, no, you made a mistake. It's the other way around, isn't it? She said, no. Ann, I don't know if Ann's here. She was terrific. There she is. Hello, Ann. She was so good. I mean, she was telling things that you wouldn't even believe. So I said, no, it must be the other way around. They're beheading the Christians, and you're saying the Christians can't get in, but the Muslims can get in. Then it was, if you're Muslim, period, you can get into the country. And if you come from Europe, you're a European, you've done great in school, you want to come to the United States, you can't get in. But if you're a Muslim, you can get in. And I'm saying, what's going on? Then you have the borders. And the southern border is a disaster, where people are flowing through like water, just like water. And you almost say, at what point is it going to be too late? You know there'll be a point at which it's too late. There's going to be a point where it's too late. You're not going to be able, no matter how good your president, no matter how good your leaders, there will be a point when it's going to be too late. Now, you have to know what to do when it comes to military. If you look, Reuters, 2004, I said you shouldn't go into Iraq. Big story, big story. Trump said, bomb, 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 don't go into Iraq. Now, I'm a big military person. I would be the strongest. I would be, number one, I'd be the best jobs president by far. And a lot of people admit that. I've employed tens of thousands. Thank you. I like this woman. She's nodding. There you go. But I've employed tens of thousands of people over my life, built projects all over. I mean, just big, beautiful. West side of Manhattan, cities in Manhattan. But I've employed tens of thousands of people. And I'm very proud of it. But, you know, you have to know when it comes to the military, because I think I'd actually be even better on security than I would be on jobs. I actually do. Nobody's going to mess around with me. But I said with Iraq, if you destabilize Iraq, if you take over Iraq, Iran's going to take over Iraq. And when Iran takes over Iraq, they're taking over the second largest oil fields in the world. It turns out they're splitting them up with ISIS. Do you know that ISIS opened up a hotel the other day? Did you see that? ISIS opened a hotel. They're making a fortune. They're opening hotels. Can you believe this? And they're getting the money from the oil. They're getting the money from the oil. that we gave them by fighting. And then we have a guy like Bush, who's a very nice person, I think. But he couldn't even answer. It took him 4 days to answer the question, was Iraq good or bad? We spent $2 trillion in Iraq, lost thousands of lives, have the incredible wounded warriors all over, who I love. They're incredible people. No arms, no legs, and in some cases worse. And what do we have in Iraq? Nothing. We can't even go there. What do we get? And if you look, 2004, what it shows is judgment. I have good judgment, good financial judgment, good military judgment, but I have good judgment. And read it, Reuters, 2004, Trump, don't go into Iraq. And I said exactly what was going to happen. I said Iran will take over Iraq, they'll take over the oil fields, and other bad groups. And I said the meanest, worst human being in the world will take over the whole thing, who hates the United States the most. That's exactly what happened. It turned out to be ISIS. It doesn't make me feel any better, but I'm the one that predicted it. These other people are saying, most of them voted for it, like Hillary, like others, like almost all others. So we have to do something for our border. We have to do our military. We have to take care of our vets. We have to take care of a lot of things. And we have to make our country rich again. You know, somebody said the other day, oh, but that's not a nice statement, make us rich. Because if you're rich, that's not nice. That's not like politically correct. Well, we can't be great unless we're rich. And right now, China and Mexico and all of these countries, Mexico's killing us on the border, but they're also totally destroying us economically. It's becoming the car capital of the world. They're killing us. And their leaders are smarter than our leaders. They think our leaders are extremely dumb. I happen to agree with them. They can't even, honestly, they can't even believe they get away with it. I'm very friendly with China. They pay me $25 million for an apartment. Am I supposed to dislike them? But the truth is, they can't believe they get away with it. Interestingly, in Business Week magazine, they had a story, what do the Chinese really want? They had 10 things. One of the 10 things is anything Trump. I said, that's a great compliment. I mean, I killed it. I go after them more than anybody, but they respect what I say, and they know I'm right. And I don't dislike the Chinese. I think they're wonderful. I mean, frankly, they just have much smarter leaders than our leaders. But you look at what they're doing from a military standpoint. You look at the Navy that they're building, and the armies, and all of the things that they're building, where they're having places built in the sea. You know what this country would do about that? If we wanted to take over an island in the sea, we'd hire consultants to do environmental impact statements. It's true. To see whether or not we're going to hurt a fish. We would see, it would take 25 years, and at the end of 25 years, we wouldn't be able to do it. It's like at LaGuardia. Our runways are too short. It's a major airport. You know why they're too short? Because there's a waterbed. It's totally polluted. But will hurt a certain form of tadpole that's in the water. So they'd rather have planes go over the edge of the runway and kill people than extend the runways a little bit at LaGuardia. We have 7,000-foot runways, which is very minimal for a commercial, especially for a major airport. So China's building in the sea. And I jokingly say, do you think they got environmental impact statements? It's very interesting. In China, they're doing this huge landmass in the ocean. Right in the ocean, dumping thousands and thousands and millions of yards of rock and soil, and it's in the ocean. And a friend of mine's involved with the project. They're going to build this massive development there. And I said, how long did it take you to get the permits? He looks at me like, permits? It's the ocean. Donald, it's the ocean. In this country, they'd give you the electric chair if you ever did. No, they actually wouldn't do that. We don't give the electric chair. We don't even give Bergdahl the electric chair, right? Which is just to finish up, and then we're going to take a couple of questions. But Bergdahl, I mean, think of it. This is our president. We get Bergdahl. They get 5 killers, all of whom they want, who are all now back on the battlefield. They're all back on the battlefield. We're a bunch of babies. We're led by stupid people. And we can't go on like this much longer. Okay, do we have any questions? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Anybody have any questions? Yes, sir. Thank you.
What is the most prominent lie that the American public is being propagandized with in regards to national security, in your opinion?
I don't think I have enough time to answer that question. Well, it's sort of like Obamacare, you know, if you think of it. It was a total lie. The president lied 22 times. It's actually 28, but they want to give him the benefit of 6. But I think it was 22 times, and it was really 28, about you can have your doctor, you can have your place. It's the same thing with everything else. Well, one of the lies that I think is the fact that Muslims can come in, but other people can't. Christians can't come into this country, but Muslims can. Now, what's that all about? What is that all about? I mean, something's got to be coming down from the top. When I heard that, I couldn't believe it. And this is one of the top people in the world on immigration having to do with this country. Muslims can come in, but Christians can't. And the Muslims aren't in danger, and the Christians are. So that's one of the things, but there's so much. Look, our military is being decimated. We're not getting the kind of equipment that we need. It's incredible. We should not have gone to Iraq, but then once we were there, decisions were made to peel out, and then everything collapsed after that. But, you know, how about Yemen? The president stands up and said, big victory, Yemen. Big victory, great victory. 3 weeks later, they got overthrown. And we left $700 million worth of equipment behind. $700 million! Not $1 billion. That's the only good thing. But it's think of it, tanks and trucks and armor and planes. We just left it. And the enemy picked it up for nothing. And people don't even talk about it. $700 million worth of equipment. You know how much that is? Army tanks and everything else? And we left it there. And then we protect Saudi Arabia. They make $1 billion a day, Saudi Arabia. You saw the ships come in, we send our aircraft carrier. To turn it on costs $1 million, right? To turn on the engines of the aircraft carrier, $1 million. So we protect them. They give us nothing. Then we have a meeting, and they won't show up because they don't have any respect for the country, and they don't have any respect. And let me tell you, they're in trouble. You look at that Yemen border, Saudi Arabia's in trouble because they haven't been great fighters. You know, when they had the war in Kuwait, Saudi Arabia ran the other way. Our Marines stood there and said that was the end of that. But they haven't been great fighters. Now, you look at that Yemen border. Do you think they really want Yemen? I think they want the oil in Saudi Arabia, frankly. But if Saudi Arabia is making $1 billion a day, why aren't they paying us to protect them? Somebody would say, oh, that's terrible what you say, protection. That's so terrible. They tell me that. What a crude thing to say. Crude. Why aren't they paying us? When the 7 Iranian ships 2 weeks ago were said, we sent our ship over. We sent our ships. And they sort of backed off a little bit. Whenever South Korea has a problem, we send our ships over there. They don't give us anything. I just ordered 4,000 televisions. They all come from South Korea. Can't buy them in the United States. You want to buy a television set in the United States, forget it. They all come from South Korea. Think of Samsung, right? Every one of them. Every one of them. LG. Sony is sort of out of it now. They come from Japan, but they're not growing as well as they used to. They're making so much money selling us the cars, they don't worry about television sets. But you see what's happening. So I say, why are we protecting South Korea is killing us on trade? Meaning they're better at it because they have better representatives and people. So South Korea is killing us on trade. So when North Korea rears up its head, why do we go and fight? So without some kind of like something taken care of. We should be taken care of. We're run by very serious people. They're politicians. They're all talk. They're no action. They'll never get to the promised land. But I will. Have a good time. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.